Welcome, everyone, to the Over Under Movies podcast, the show where we take a prominent figure or franchise in the world of filmmaking and ask the simple question, is it overrated or underrated? I'm joined, as always, by my co-host. It's Mr. Dylan DeAngelis.
What's up?
Hi, Dylan.
Happy to hang out with my gay Asian husband.
Yeah.
To this podcast.
Oh, are those the characters we're going with for this?
It has to be, right?
All right, so you're that other guy?
You're Benedict Wong.
Right, and you're the guy... This will be a full spoilers podcast for the film that we're talking about. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce my two good friends. It's Mr. Ryan Clarkson and Nick Roth.
Friends of
Hello.
the podcast.
Yeah, welcome. Ryan, you were on our very first episode ever.
Was that actually the first?
That ended up, the Christopher Nolan episode ended up being, I'm sorry, did we do that? We recorded it first.
Really?
And then we did James Gunn as our first one that we officially released. But you have the record now of most time between appearances.
That's true.
At almost 2 years.
Well, I'm honored.
Wow, that's crazy that it's been
I'll be
almost
back
2
in
years.
2 more years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if our D&D campaign's still going, if your brother doesn't keep killing me, then you'll always be welcome back. But if he does that again, I swear to
He
God.
kills all of us. I'll take over.
Okay,
I'll
good.
DM for us.
Good. And this is making it in because I am editing the podcast. So, yeah, joined by my friends today. We played D&D together. And Ryan, Nick, you guys enjoy talking about movies and stuff?
I don't even like movies. I'm just here because I'm getting paid for this.
We have not discussed
To be
that.
clear, I am being paid for my time here.
We got 2 patrons since the last time we released a podcast, and now Nick wants in on that money.
We're getting a little big-headed here.
So, yeah, this is maybe the longest we've gone without mentioning what the movie is at the top of the podcast.
Very
so,
important, because this is one of our spoilers reviews where it's like, literally do not watch this video or this podcast.
Please.
Don't listen to this podcast if you have not seen the film that we are talking about. It's one of those movies that like you should see it as blind as possible.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no one told this guy that.
No, I tried to go in blind, to be clear, but the internet, I saw one thing on the internet which kind of tilts.
Ruined the entire movie.
No, I wouldn't say ruin the entire movie, but it gave me certain things to look out for. So if you can, go and see it blind. It would be a lot better, I think.
But we're going to spoil it. Like, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. So today we're talking about Weapons, the new Zach Cregger film. This is his second movie after Barbarian, which came out a couple of years ago. This is a horror film. The trailers have been creepy and unsettling and have done a good job obfuscating what the movie is about. Ryan, what's the movie about?
Well, it turns out the movie is not about creepy or unsettling things at all. It's about hilarious and absurd things happening in a creepy context. To sum up, I guess the plot is just like, I mean, it's in the trailer where kids in one classroom all just run into the dark at 2:17 in the morning and they never come back.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. The kids run away, and we don't know why the kids ran away. And that's the bulk of the trailers and the marketing for this film, is really just giving you the premise
Yeah.
and not the actual stuff that happens in the movie after that, because that's basically the first 2 minutes of the movie is explaining to you exactly how that works.
That was the first thing that shocked me, was like literally everything you learn in the trailer is like gone in the first minute of the movie.
Yeah, there's no build up to
And
it.
like you don't get to see any of it really, like other than a couple little shots here and there. You don't really experience it. It's just kind of like a month later, here's the aftermath of it. Which
Yeah, so really the movie is about this town dealing with the aftermath of a tragedy. All these kids are lost and all the parents are grieving. The teacher is grieving, but also all the parents blame her for it. And then we meet like a host of other side characters throughout the movie that I didn't know that we were going to follow. So it's an interwoven narrative, which I haven't seen one of those in a while, so that was kind of a fun treat. Nick, tell us about some of those characters and their segments.
Okay, so first we have Justine, who is the teacher in the classroom where everyone goes missing, aside from one child, which is an important detail. Her story is mostly about her, trying to deal with the grief of what happened, but also trying to withstand kind of the scrutiny and growing animosity of the community, because obviously they think that something went on in her classroom to cause this. And then it eventually turns into her trying to do some detective work on her own. I'm not great with all the character names, but the next major character is Josh Brolin's character,
Archer.
Archer.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm
Yep.
up on.
Yep,
this.
Archer, and he is the parent of one of the children who goes missing, Matthew, and is also one of the characters who has a lot of animosity towards Julia Garner's teacher character, Justine. And just like her, he's the other kind of major figure that he's, he's the other major figure that tries to do some of his own detective work to try and figure out what's going on. And there's a bunch of other characters. Is it Alden or Aldrin Ehrenreich? Alden Ehrenreich?
Alden.
Yeah, he plays a police officer in the town, and his story is mainly interwoven with this one character that I just called the junkie. Unfortunately, I forget his name. You got that one, Ryan?
I believe it was James, but
James.
I could be wrong.
That sounds right.
Alden Ehrenreich's plot is a series of unfortunate events. The man has a very rough couple days in this movie.
Yes,
Well,
he does.
it's also police brutality, and that was a choice on his part.
Well, I mean, we can justify he's got stabbed by a
Pricked by a needle.
Yeah.
I would punch someone too, but I'm not a police officer.
It's social commentary, budding social commentary on police violence.
Yeah. Nick, you're a police officer,
Incorrect. I am not a police officer.
and you were cheering in the theater when he punched that guy? Was that right?
That is a lie. You'll be hearing from my lawyers. No, but I did enjoy. I did think his section was pretty funny because it really was a series of unfortunate events. Is there copyright issues if I say that?
We
Are
talk
we-
about movies.
Are we gonna get?
That's what you're allowed to name things.
But yeah, so his storyline was one of the funnier ones. Yeah, and then there's a couple, and I shouldn't forget to mention the other kind of major character, which is Alex, who is the one child in the classroom who doesn't go missing.
It's the major plot point that is not talked about at all in the marketing of the film, and you see it immediately that every kid in class is gone except for one.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I saw there was one kid in the class, and I go, "Oh, that's it."
He did it.
It's either him or it's someone like around him is the explanation.
And that's exactly what it turns out to be. Spoilers. I really hope you turned this off by now if you haven't seen the movie.
Can I talk about the spoiler that I saw kind of early on? That
Yeah, and we'll go right
Yeah,
into
this is a movie that tells you the explanation of it. It leaves hints like an Ari Aster film would. Like if you're paying attention to like what's in the frame, you'll see what the movie's actually about, which is cool. I'm sure we picked up on the same thing then.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was trying to avoid a lot of the marketing. I don't think I even really watched any of the trailers. I just kind of generally knew what it was about. But like yesterday or the day before, I just saw someone post a tweet which was comparing Gladys, which is a character in the film, to Nick Cage's character from Longlegs, and I was like, okay, well, she's obviously going to be the culprit. And so I was keeping an eye out for her because she has like bright red hair. And so in the early scenes, the police are talking to Alex, and I look and she's sitting to the right of Alex. I just see her hair.
Yeah, it's like from behind.
Yeah, it's from behind, and you can't really see her. But I'm like, okay, well, that's confirmed because just like you said, I was immediately suspicious of the one kid who didn't go missing, and then along with that, she's sitting next to him in the police interview. So I'm like, clearly it's that house. And so and that's what it ends up being.
I actually caught something different, so this is great.
Oh, cool. What'd you catch?
So this is something that I do anytime there's some sort of like mystery in a movie and there is a classroom element to it.
Oh, I did the same thing. I know exactly.
Is the directors, authors, they love setting up an early lesson in the story that it ends up being important to the plot. And for some reason, this elementary school class is learning about parasites.
Yeah, we caught that.
Yeah.
They're learning about parasites. You see parasites. You see a list of parasites on the blackboard behind her when she has that dream sequence. It's like 20 minutes into the movie. She has a dream sequence where she walks into her class and all the kids are like demons sitting in their chairs. And you see the parasites behind them. And then the gay couple later in the movie, they're watching a documentary on parasites that infect ants and turn them into zombie ants.
Yeah.
And that's the movie. That's the plot of the movie.
Well, see, there was also whales on the board. So I was like 50-50 the whole movie. Like, is it going to be whales that are the culprit of this whole thing?
That would have been more interesting.
That would have been crazy.
It's a different movie.
Are they turning children into whales?
So we've been talking about how they leave some little hints and clues, but Nick, on the way back, we also kind of talked about how this isn't like a solvable mystery of a film, which I think left the two of us feeling a little disappointed. How did you guys feel about the mystery element of this? Was this like something where you had fun trying to solve the case along with the characters, or did that leave you wanting a little more?
I think that it worked perfectly the way they had it, because the whole movie, it's not really like a thing that you can say this is exactly what's happening, but you can kind of piece together like the direction of like where things are going. Like when I always forget the guy's name, the dude who played Archer.
Josh
Josh
Brolin.
Brolin.
It's Thanos.
I know. the way
Just call him Thanos.
when he I'll start calling him Thanos. So when Thanos is like piecing together all the like the things, he's like doing his own investigating, just like Justine's doing her investigating, and you kind of like see the logic they're using, and like some of their logic's correct, like where he was like saying, oh, they're running straight away from the house. Let me mark where they're running, and like he kind of is piecing it together, and you can piece it together a little bit, but you can't really come to what the thing ends up being because it's just so out of left field, like voodoo shit. Like there's no way to know that.
Right. I think as a whodunit, it's not a whodunit. It doesn't function that way at all because, like you guys said, you saw the one kid in class who didn't get taken, and you were like, he did it. And you were right.
Left behind.
So really the mystery is like, well, what caused this? What was the mechanics behind it? And that part really isn't solvable until you start to see some stuff. Although you clocked voodoo as soon as the hair clipping happened.
Yeah. The moment Justine's hair gets clipped, I'm like, that's gotta be voodoo. And also, if you're just thinking like, what are the possible explanations for 17 kids running off the exact same way in the middle of the night? It's like, okay, either they did like a game themselves, like this is something they talked about they wanted to do, or it's some like supernatural shit.
I was kind of watching this movie hoping it wasn't going to be some sort of supernatural thing or demons or something. That's what I was disappointed with Longlegs last year. I think these are two movies that are going to get compared to a lot because Longlegs was the big super hyped up horror film from last summer. I think a lot of people came away a little disappointed from Longlegs, and that, I guess, spoilers for Longlegs, it's like the devil or a demon. That's what's causing the entire movie. And the Nick Cage's character is like an intermediary. He's just like working for the devil or whatever.
Yeah, he's just kind of a fan.
And that movie is similar to where you can see like the devil in the background of a lot of shots if you're paying attention. So
was the devil in shots in this?
Not in this one, but you were saying that the lady with the red hair, she's in like different scenes if you're paying attention early in the film.
Oh yeah, and then sorry to jump in. Just the other one that I noticed because I was looking out for it was in that dream sequence. I think Jason mentioned earlier where they're all in the classroom and things are being creepy at night. When one of the kids, Alex, puts his head up, he has the same makeup that his Aunt Gladys has, and so that was another one where I'm like, okay, I get that reference because I had that foreknowledge.
The other movie I really thought of when I was watching this was Prisoners, the Denis Villeneuve film.
I haven't seen that.
And
I was thinking Gone Girl, but like same kind of genre-esque.
Yeah, so Prisoners, for anybody that hasn't seen it, I won't spoil that, but it is a film about two kids that get kidnapped. And it's basically the dad, played by Hugh Jackman, he's trying to find his daughter the entire movie. And that is more grounded, and it's much more like visceral. There's a way that they could have written Josh Brolin's character in this that they could have been similar to how Hugh Jackman's character is in Prisoners, where he is just pure rage and he's just angry and he's looking for somebody to be responsible.
And he was on the verge of it, I think, before Benedict Wong's character comes along and kind of like stops it, because he was confronting Justine at the gas station, and like he was getting like aggressive with her, like he's putting hands on her basically. And then Benedict Wong runs in like a maniac with his eyes popping out and completely stops that whole thing from escalating any further.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, that scene was in some of the marketing for the film. I saw that like they released part of that scene.
Yeah, I saw that as well. But I think I turned it off before I saw who was running at them. So I'm glad I did that because I didn't know it was Benedict Wong that got turned. I enjoyed the interwoven element of this. I think that was really cool. You would see all these different characters and their lives affected by this tragedy, and then certain things would happen, and then later you would see it from another character's point of view, which would explain some stuff. Someone writes the word witch on Justine's car, turns out to be Josh Brolin's character.
Oh, I just noticed witch. She's a witch in the, that's true. Smart.
Wow.
It's a smart movie.
There's also the cop has an affair with Julia Garner's character, and that was really funny.
Yeah, that was kind of out of left field.
Yeah. Well, the funny part was when his wife attacks her at the liquor store, and like it comes kind of out of nowhere, and then you see her in the cop storyline, and you're like, okay,
And that's a fake out because you think she's being
Yes.
followed
Yeah,
by
I was gonna say that.
somebody that maybe they're like mind controlled or they're going to hurt her, but no, it is a totally justified reason.
Yeah,
for her
she
to
brought
be
that on herself.
16.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that the shot that they use, like the choice of shot they use in that scene, is like really cool. Where they kind of like they're panning as she's going through the aisles, and like you see her come into frame for a second, and you're like, is that person gonna be in the scene? And then you see her come in frame again, and then they pan again, so you don't see her for long, and she keeps getting closer and closer. And the way it was executed was just really cool.
Yeah, it's some very effective horror camera work. Nick, you mentioned this on the walk over as well, but you said there was some different types of camera work between the segments. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I'm not exactly an expert, but the main thing that I noticed is just as we were talking about with kind of the kind of very deliberate camera movement as Justine's walking that keeps I think her name was Donna, was the other woman that keeps Donna in the background. I feel like there's a lot of that kind of slow, like deliberate camera movements in horror movies, and this has it a lot, like where they'll focus on like a door, and then the door will pop open and they'll just hold it and it would like slowly move in. But just the one funny difference that I thought was really stark was when they were on the junkie's point of view, his part of the movie, where he's lighting up. Like early on, I kind of noticed immediately is that there were significantly more cuts, and the cuts were a lot faster, and it seemed like the camera was much more shaky. Like they weren't doing the kind of very deliberate, I guess,
Static shots.
yeah, like a static shot, and it was more. It seemed like handheld. So I just thought that was a funny.
There was definitely a tone shift when you went to the James section, because that's when it became a comedy for me, where it was like there was some funny parts, and like the Alden Ehrenreich part there's a lot of funny parts in that, but I feel like it's more of like a mystery. That's kind of the tone they're going for.
Hmm.
When it switches to the James one, it's full on basically comedy. Like everything he's doing is just comedic, and like when he goes into the house, they don't play it for tension. They play it for comedy the entire way.
Yeah.
It's actually like an interesting distinction that I wonder how audiences are going to come away with this. Do you think this is a horror movie or is this a horror comedy?
That's a good question.
Because the audience that I was in yesterday, like people laugh a lot at this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand that the director comes from a comedy background. He's similar to Jordan Peele.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably just comes natural to him to like write comedic elements into his scenes. But I almost feel like if you look at this movie as a horror comedy and not a straight line horror, I think it might make I think it makes the movie a little better, at least in my mind. If you think this is a straight horror, I think I came away with it a bit disappointed, similar to my reaction to Longlegs last year. But it's got a lot of moments that are you just like want to laugh, like the final confrontation.
Yeah,
So
And-
good.
Yeah, we got to talk about the final
Wait,
confrontation.
Josh Brolin is throwing that drug guy like a sack of meat because he won't die. He won't go unconscious.
And he keeps screaming like at the perfect timing. So like every time he screamed, people laughed. Like it was.
yeah, and then there's a slight like delay where he's looking for him, and then he pops out again screaming. Yeah, that's
He would like knock him out with a punch, and then like he would come to, and then start screaming again.
But those fights, it feels like I'm watching Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
Like it's a horror setup, but the scene is hilarious,
Mm-hmm.
and so it takes away that horror tension from it a little bit.
So you think Shaun of the Dead would be a horror comedy, or is that a comedy horror? Dude, because Shaun of the Dead,
Which is the primary genre.
yeah, like I'm saying, Shaun of the Dead's a primary
That's got to be a comedy horror.
I would consider this movie a primary horror,
I agree.
but it has a lot of comedic elements.
Which way are you weighting it? Are you saying
Yeah,
like
yeah.
60-40? How's
Yeah, I'm saying they went for horror, and then they found a lot of comedy in the horror.
This movie's a lot funnier than most other horror films that are trying to be like I'm the serious indie guy making a horror film.
Yeah.
It's much more lighthearted than I thought it was going to be. It's more lighthearted than Barbarian, his first film. I thought Barbarian's more of like a straight line
Yeah.
horror.
Barbarian's a scarier movie, I think.
Yeah.
Weapons.
but also very funny.
It is really
The
funny.
tape measure scene, I just remember they're getting huge laughs from that. So I think he was absolutely wants to have that comedic element in, but I would agree that Weapons is funnier than Barbarian.
Yeah, I think like horror and comedy, people say this all the time, but people who understand comedy can do good horror because it's all about like tension and release, and it's
Yeah.
all about timing.
Yeah.
So this guy, he really knows how to do it, but I think you're right. He's so comfortable writing comedy that he's going to go ahead and just do that. He's not just going to try and translate his comedy into horror or his comedy chops into pure horror. He is going to also be funny in the movie. The final sequence where the kids are chasing the witch around is
It's just hilarious.
it's some like
it's
Looney
funny.
Tunes shit. It's out of control. And like the camera cuts they do for that, like having her run across the field and then waiting on like a comedic beat and then all the kids running after her is
Yes.
so good. And then her death sequence, which is very visceral and violent, also hilarious. Our audience clapped and cheered for that.
Yeah, that was cringe as shit.
I clapped.
Oh, you clapped? Dude.
Yeah, I mean, what I liked about the final sequence is that throughout the movie, Gladys has really been built up as really kind of this unstoppable force. Like, she has powers that people should not have, obviously, because she's a witch or something similar. And she might have just been trying to scare Alex, but she tells him, if you tell anyone, I'll know. And frankly, I believe that, because I don't think anyone ever told her specifically that it was Justine who was kind of onto her. I guess she could have figured it out, but it seems like she has powers that, well, obviously has powers that are beyond people. So it just makes her really formidable and terrifying. And then the end is just her, like, immediately when she realizes what happens, she's like, oh no, and just starts booking it. And just as she runs screaming through all these different houses, I think it was a really great way to tear her down, because I kind of was expecting it to be, because early on they say the kids never come back. So I'm expecting it to be an ending where the bad guys win, essentially.
Well, they did kind of say the kids haven't come back. Like at the very end, they're like
mentally.
Some of them have started even talking now, so like they really haven't come back.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But it's just my perception of it was just like, they're not going to find them. They're not going to solve the mystery. Because that was another part of the opening monologue, was they said, like, they never figured out what happened. If you come to the town, everyone in the town will tell the same story, but they never figured it out.
Yeah, how'd they cover this up?
That's right, because
There's ring footage, there's cop footage,
and they also say that the feds are also investigating the case, so you can't really cover it up as a small town. You know what? That's getting into the nitty-gritty of things. I don't think we need to like poke holes in that facet of the film. You mentioned when she figures out what happens, she immediately becomes a scared old lady again, no longer the all-powerful witch. So what happens, Dylan, maybe you want to summarize. We've kind of been talking around it, but something happens that Alex does, which allows those kids to chase her and eat her.
Yeah, he basically takes her powers, or I'm assuming that, like, whatever voodoo rituals she's doing, all you need to do is wrap the person's hair around a thorn branch and then poke your finger and make it bleed on it.
or like
and
some kind of
snap it.
DNA or something.
The movie's called Weapons, and Josh Brolin has a line where he's saying, oh, they're weaponizing these people. And I'm like, you could have picked a better title. I don't know.
That's what I was saying after we walked out. They probably wish they could have named this Parasite, but then Parasite came out. And
Parasite would be a really cool title for this film.
Parasite would be a really good name for
Unfortunately, it
this
was
movie.
taken.
They saw that come out and they're like, oh shit, we got to rename this. God.
I didn't hate the title itself. I agree that when he says, like, you know, they're being weaponized, something like that, they could have avoided that line. Like, there's another line he says where they're like heat-seeking missiles. I feel like that would have been fine. But then once you
it's
actually...
funny, 'cause, a lot of people theorized when the first trailers for this came out that this movie was going to be some sort of allegory for school shootings and children disappearing. And Josh Brolin's dream sequence, he like looks above his house and there's an AR-15.
Yeah, we talked about
And
that
I'm
on the
like,
way.
what is this? In hindsight, what is that scene?
Yeah.
What is supposed to be the message there?
Well, that's the thing, because like the dream sequences are inconsistent.
The dream sequence make no sense now that we know the witch's powers. It's my biggest issue with the movie, honestly, is that one, they feel the need to spend the entire back like 30 minutes of the film. This movie's 2 hours and 8 minutes. It's too long. The movie's a solid 20 minutes too long. And apparently this movie was a lot longer. You said that the screenplay for this was really long.
It was a very lengthy screenplay, yeah.
And they spend too much of the movie with you having full knowledge of what her powers are, and you're spending the rest of the film being like, okay, how are they going to stop her now? And the film has to kind of like drag its feet to explain every last little detail, because they're locked into this format of, we need to tell this person's full perspective of the entire timeline and not doing the traditional thing where you're bouncing back and forth between characters and telling one chronological story. It almost like artificially makes the movie longer when you tell the story that way. And I think it's to the film's detriment because the movie's a mystery. So once one character is kind of in on the mystery, and as the audience you start to solve things, the whole movie kind of like it collapses in on itself, especially because he makes the decision that he's going to tell you exactly how her powers work. I would have been fine if they just left it up to your imagination that she had these like voodoo witch powers that are never fully explained.
I still have a lot of questions with the voodoo witch powers. Like, for instance,
they're plot powers in a lot of ways.
yeah, like first of all, she's like says she's sick, and like obviously she needs the boy Alex to like get her more people. I was assuming that she's like obviously being a parasite and like living off of these people, and that's why she has them. But they never really cement that. Like they never like show that she's using these people to keep herself alive.
Well, she did mention that when Alex asked her, she mentioned that she thought that Alex's parents would help her get better. So I think she is supposed to like leech off them and get younger, but for whatever reason it just wasn't working, and so she tried to do that with the children, and
it wasn't working still.
I don't know. I don't
like I said, they don't really.
Yeah, so that part's a little unclear.
Also, her plan sucks.
Yeah.
We can just be we can keep it a buck here. Why steal literally the class that Alex is in? He could have just taken stuff from a bunch of random kids at the school, and nobody would have been able to trace it back to Alex.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
Alex is the only student left and all of the rest of his class is gone. It's like, shit, I wonder what happened. I wonder who it is.
And why do you even need Alex after that? Like, you could have just turned Alex into a weapon as well. Like,
or tell Alex to grab random shit from people in town. Just have random people.
Like, why are we keeping this Alex in the know but not turning him into a weapon? Like, he could easily tell someone.
And this is where I get cynical and be like, well, the entire class of kids disappearing is a cool tagline for a movie because it makes the movie interesting and marketable. That's why you do it. In the rationale of the film, her plan is awful, and her possessing Benedict Wong makes it even more obvious as well that she was the last person to interact with him.
I don't disagree, but I think to give the generous interpretation is that she's very desperate. So she was just the easiest thing for Alex to do would be to get the stuff from the kids in his classroom, which he does. And then I think with her plan, she was thinking she would get better and could potentially leave. I don't think she really cared about or that her powers could overcome anyone, because it's not like the cops didn't stop her. It was Alex who stopped her. So, and I could talk about how bad the policing was in the movie and how they should have easily.
Because he's a cop, he knows.
From a medical standpoint,
the cops are horrendously incompetent,
genuinely terrible.
How do they not have a cruiser that's just like sitting at Alex's house all the time? They should have a cruiser at Alex's house and a cruiser at Justine's house just all the time, keeping an eye on like what's happening.
The worst part is like Josh Brolin's plan, how he solves it is like the obvious plan. Go find the different houses. Yeah. They presumably ran in a straight line, draw a line.
He literally triangulates the coordinates like they do on cop shows in like.
If we had Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, this would have been solved in
and I
20 minutes.
I think the way they try and get out of it is that the police do show up at the house and she makes the kids go away. Like she sends them somewhere else. And I think that's trying to explain away the plot hole with the police. But still, like that's the prime suspect.
Yeah, the plot hole of nobody paying attention to the house.
I know.
There are two main suspects. Anybody can make the guess when it's, an entire class minus the teacher and one kid disappeared. Okay, we'll keep an eye on the teacher. And we'll keep an eye on the one kid.
Yes.
And they stopped keeping an eye on the one kid after like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's not even to say anything about the initial like police interview that had Gladys, who's not the primary guardian, and then the father who is not speaking and has fork.
He had the death stare.
He has fork impressions in his face.
Yes, she says that the dad had a stroke or something.
Yeah.
That he's catatonic. I'm sure they could look that up, check the medical records to see if that actually happened. It's supposed to be a small town, right? Everybody knows everybody.
Listen, when I was watching it, I wasn't thinking. I was a little bit thinking about this, but it wasn't ruining my experience with the movie. Like, there's a million plot holes.
It's tough because this is a movie that I'm judging it with a very high bar because it's a film. What does it have, like a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes? or
People
something?
really like this movie, and it was.
And
like,
so
there was
when I go into a
something-
movie like this, I expect it to be at least like pretty airtight. This movie's getting compared to Get Out. Get Out is very tight. The white people that are stealing the brains of the black people, you can kind of like understand how their plan is working for the most part, and it takes the one guy to be like a superhero for him to actually break out of that. And this movie, it requires so many people being fucking idiots for this old lady's plan to even remotely work.
I think
This doesn't work in the end.
it's just too complicated of like a premise in order for it to work seamlessly like Get Out would work.
And that's why I'm disappointed that this director of the screenplay, whoever wrote it, they couldn't come up with a more interesting explanation than it's mysticism or it's demons or it's just vague like supernatural powers again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I mean, it's the same with Barbarian, right? Like, there's just a random monster creature in the basement, and then they kind of explain the origins of that creature.
They really did do the exact same thing where they cut back in time in Barbarian to like a different character and like, here's all the explanation.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And then we're going to get back to where we were in the story.
Yeah, Barbarian suffers from the first half of the movie is really interesting, and then the back half of the movie is not. It's just a monster movie.
That's exactly how I feel about this one, I think.
Yeah, you could argue that about this one. I will say, just in terms of the like logical leaps, usually that bothers me. I feel like if I want to like a movie, then I'll kind of allow it. I just think for the sake of the genre, like the horror genre, I don't need it to everything to be like like we said, there's a bunch of holes. I was noticing, obviously, the policing was horrible, but it didn't really, I wouldn't say it affected my enjoyment because I was really okay with what they were trying to do with the story. And I know we've said that, you didn't like the mysticism aspect of it, but I don't know. I feel like I really kind of liked just the witch story. It kind of felt like a fairy tale almost, kind of like a, adult fairy
Yeah,
tale.
or like a fable or
Yeah, or a fable, which I did enjoy, and that I think that might be part of the reason why I was willing to kind of let the logic of it go a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you watch a movie like Freaky Friday, and the body swapping just happens because of fortune cookies, and it's like, you're not like, oh, what's the logic behind these magic fortune cookies? They just say it's some weird Asian voodoo, and then they move on, and that's a perfect film. So I think you can forgive a lot of these things. I think especially not just in horror movies, but also any mystery movie, you kind of need the police to be really bad at their jobs. If we went and looked at any mystery or horror film that the police are involved in but aren't the main characters, they're always going to be incompetent, and that's just so that you can have a protagonist that can do the police work. So I think that's a pretty forgivable sin as far as movie sins go.
Yeah, I agree. My biggest issue wasn't any of these plot holes or anything like that. Really, it was in the third act, everything slams to a halt when they cut back in time and like show, here's every bit of exposition. Like as soon as Alex's portion starts, I kind of like immediately noticed a distinct change in like.
Yeah, the Alex portion of the film is okay. It's exposition time.
Yeah.
It's time
Like-
for us to tell you exactly what happened.
It's like, here's for all the dummies in the audience. Like, let me explain exactly what's going on. Like, I feel like you could cut that out and it would be a lot more obscure of like what's going on, which would make it a little bit more tense.
Like, I don't understand why the decision was not to do the traditional route of these types of films where as your main characters are investigating things and learning things, you as the audience are also learning those things. And this movie feels the need to just bypass that entirely and just show you exactly what happens.
That's true. The main characters, if you consider Justine and Archer to be like the main characters, they never figure out the voodoo stuff, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they just go to the house
yeah.
and problems happen.
Yeah, they
Alex
have some fights.
Alex has to save the day at the end.
Right.
That Justine would be dead and Archer would be mind controlled.
I think that's why they spent so much time on the Alex part. I agree that I thought it dragged a little too, because somewhere during, even before Alex's, where they were kept doing different POVs, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the POVs to come together and then have everything together all the way to the finale. And so already there, I thought it dragged a little. So I agree with the criticism of Alex's part.
It did do that though. Like it just cut to Alex first and then it got back to all the POVs converging.
Yeah, but the point I wanted to make about Alex's part is, yes, there's exposition there, but I really thought it was an important section just for the kind of the emotional journey of the character or understanding him a lot more. Because if he's going to have the hero moment, I really like to see the struggle he went through to get there. And I think that's really what that section was about, because he's in a horrible spot. And we kind of debated about how much he's to blame or not. But she basically takes his parents hostage and says, all right, they're going to die if you do anything. And so he's forced to help her. And this is a powerful, scary witch that he can't stand up to. And then by the end, he goes against her. He crosses the salt, which the witch says, don't cross the salt, immediately gets attacked by his controlled parents, has to maneuver around them, get into the room, and then save the day. And I just really liked how it was him overcoming this kind of scary, terrifying entity. And you really need that time spent with the character, seeing how he's trapped by it.
I just hated Alex.
In my opinion,
he was like the villain of the movie for me.
That's crazy.
Why didn't he just stab the old lady in the neck with a knife? That could have fixed it, right? It's not like she has super strength or super healing or anything like that.
I don't know. It took 17 kids ripping her apart for a while for the spell to drop.
Also, why is she in the basement when?
How did she get in the basement?
Because her leaving her demon circle thing and all of her witchcraft stuff upstairs, that's what allows Alex to go up there and take it from her.
Well, that's why she posted the parents as guards.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa. He posts the parents as guards and then goes in the room, and then she's in the basement. How did she get there?
She just went there later.
Yeah,
teleported.
Yeah, they didn't show all the time that passed. She just presumably went to the basement at some point.
Yeah, to do a sick prank on Josh Brolin.
Yeah, and I think she was just trusting the fact that she had sufficiently scared this kid. And again, that's what the Alex section is really about. It's really her just kind of breaking him down and saying you cannot resist me. I have all this power. So by that point, she just trusted that he was too scared to do anything. And that's why I really liked how he overcame it at the end.
I definitely think Alex is an interesting character, and he's definitely set up to be the hero of the film. However, we don't really get to see much of him until the last 20-30 minutes of the movie, where he actually gets to do stuff and be part of the plot. And it's just another victim of the story structure that we don't get to see Alex throughout the movie. I mean, it's a victim of the fact that the movie starts after the kids are all disappeared. If you had an opening sequence of the film that was like a normal day in school, which we see at some point in this movie, where you see that Alex is kind of bullied by his entire class, that he's not exactly one of the popular kids, you might, sympathize with him a little bit. But this is something that the movie is focused on constantly, going back to the beginning of the timeline and then showing somebody else's perspective and then going back again.
I thought it worked, honestly. I thought the biggest detriment was that, not to rag on a child actor, but I'm going to rag on a child actor. He showed no emotion through most of the movie. There were only one or two scenes where he actually showed genuine distress for what's going on. So I wasn't really on board with him. And maybe that's because of the performance, maybe it's because of the structure, but I was fine with that they switched tone or switched to Alex and they're going to build him up as a character, but I just didn't really buy him as he's hating this whole scenario and he's emotionally wrecked from it. I didn't get any of that.
I disagree. But it's the moment at the dinner table where she had the parents, I just thought that was a
good scene.
Yeah, I thought that was a great scene, but it was just, I think he was trying to keep himself together so much. I clearly saw the emotion. You could see it in his eyes. He was kind of tearing up. He was breathing really fast. You could tell how scared he was of that whole situation. But I think he just had to maintain it in the face of this witch, that he had to just do as she said and not, lose his mind. Because if he did anything kind of out in the world to give away that something was wrong, then and people start looking into it, then maybe his parents get killed. So I think it was just the circumstance of the character was he had to be very controlled. And I just thought it was kind of admirable. I didn't interpret it as an acting problem for me.
Did the parents get killed? I can't remember.
No, they're fine. They hugged him at the end. Or he hugged them. They're brain dead.
Yeah, that does pose a question of how...
Yeah, he's going to an orphanage now, right?
He got moved to a real aunt.
Yeah, to a different...
right.
Other relatives.
That does pose the question of how the children come back over time, because they said the parents are
Or like fully brain.
yeah, like they're gone. But then it took a while for the kids to start
Archer,
talking.
Archer is being weaponized, and he comes back immediately.
So the amount of
So no, we need to kill Alex.
It's probably exposure time.
Yeah, how long you've been
No,
under
because
spell.
Alex takes over the kids, and he's still alive at the end.
We don't have to kill Alex.
We need to kill Alex to free the kids.
No, because they already said that the kids started coming
The
back.
director of
by
this
the
film
end.
said that he had some sort of sequel in mind.
Oh, we're killing Alex in the
Essentially,
sequel. Let's
and-
go.
That would be a cool twist. Is that if the sequel is Alex is the witch now?
yeah,
and you
'cause
know
he
it from
knows
the
how to
very
use the
beginning of the
powers
movie?
now.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I did think that maybe this lady had some sort of innate magical abilities that, in addition to the voodoo, let her do all these things. But it seems like anyone can do that with the right spell and components.
Yeah, it didn't seem very complicated.
It seemed really easy, actually. Like, we could replicate this.
Yeah.
and see
Cut
if it
somebody's
works.
hair
Yeah.
and then wrap it on the twig, and you're good.
Yeah.
Bleed on it.
So this is Zach Cregger's second film. We've talked about his first one a little bit, Barbarian, which is one of my favorite horror films. But how do you guys feel this is as like a second outing? You know, Jordan Peele has Us. Do you think this kind of proves that this guy's got the sauce? You think he'll continue in this genre for a long time? You think his paycheck's going to be even bigger next time?
Oh, I'm in. I'm in. He's one of my filmmakers now that every time he makes a movie, I'm in.
Good.
I think he has the sauce. I will say that I don't know that the movie. I have them rate. I'm gonna rate them about the same. This Weapons and Barbarian, but I will say I maybe liked Barbarian a little bit more because of some of the problems we talked about. But I did really enjoy Weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that this is going to be a Jordan Peele situation where I think looking back on it now, Get Out is still his best movie.
Mhm.
And
Agreed.
the more movies that he makes, the less I'm confident that he's got something that's better than Get Out in him. It's possible that he just is the rare director where his first outing is he fucking nailed it and it became part of the cultural zeitgeist.
Mhm.
However, when it comes to Zach Cregger, I think his Get Out is still yet to come. I think he's made two movies that are good but flawed. And if he's able to fix those flaws and he's able to just, nail the story from start to finish, I think he's got something. He's definitely competent. He's definitely in that realm of Jordan Peele or Ari Aster. Or those.
He's got a lot of style with how he makes movies. Like the camera work was always moving. Like I liked a lot of it.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about one shot in particular. That was my favorite shot in the movie, which I talked about with Jason on the way. When I feel bad, I keep calling him the junkie character. Did we say it was James? Okay, sorry. I'm gonna say James. When James was trying to flee the house, the door was deadbolted, and the camera was fixed to the door. So every time he would try and pull the door open, the camera would move like violently in and out with the door. And I really enjoyed that shot. Immediately, I was like, I got to make a note of that because but like there's a lot of good shots. There's also one of the moments where I call it like the Black Panther shot, even though I don't, because when Killmonger walks into the throne room, there's like this shot where things go upside down.
Mhm.
I know what you're talking.
In this one, there's a shot where someone walks, I think, towards a door. Maybe it was in a dream sequence, I can't remember, but the camera does a similar thing where it's kind of, it like goes above them, so he's like walking like upside down seemingly. So there's there's a lot of style that he has as a director, and so again, I'm just going back to the question if he has the sauce or not. I think he is going to be a good director for many more pictures.
Yeah, I think his next film is a Resident Evil film.
Tough look.
Actually,
So
Never mind.
he's already made that studio leap. He also said that he has a DC Comics film that he has ready to go. He's written the script already.
That's
so
that's the nightmare scenario. Is that if he makes big budget, mediocre?
we saw what
IP
happened to
films.
Taika Waititi.
Is he doing Clayface? I don't know if anyone knows that offhand.
No,
but-
he's
he's
not
not
the guy doing
Okay.
Clayface.
I want his Beau is Afraid. I want his blank check movie. Just
Yeah.
give him all the money to make something really weird.
But I wonder what this movie looks like with nothing but my favorite scene in the film is when Justine is in the car and she falls asleep.
Yeah, our audience loved that.
It's the one scene of like true horror in
Mhm.
the entire movie when you see is it the mom that gets ripped out?
It's the mom.
And she's got the scissors and the camera, it's one lockdown shot. They don't ever cut around the car. It just backs up and you just hear the door open and close. And my whole audience is like,
Yeah, literally the
That-
same happened in another.
That was arguably the biggest audience reaction.
Because first of all,
I think someone shouted, "No!"
why are your car doors unlocked?
That's
First of
crazy.
all.
If you're gonna do a stakeout and fall asleep, you've got to lock your doors.
That's insane.
This woman was psychopathic, by the way. She was following a small child around neighborhoods.
I do like that the movie has just a bunch of characters that kind of suck. I thought Alden Ehrenreich's character was going to be like the quote unquote good guy, but nope.
Yeah, he's just a
He's cheating on his fiance.
He's on his fiance. He commits police brutality. He covers it up.
You should have known from the mustache.
He relapses his alcoholism
Yeah,
because he says he was going to go to an AA meeting and he doesn't.
yeah,
This movie's great for alcoholism. Shout out to alcoholism.
yeah.
Shout out.
Julia Garner's character is constantly at the liquor store.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say that's maybe why there's no excuse for her not locking the doors. But I don't know if you guys remember, she was late. She was lacing her drink.
She didn't mean to fall asleep, probably.
Yeah, she poured alcohol into like her soda, and so she was just drinking it on the stakeout, and then so she just fell asleep because she got drunk.
I do think that's a really good point that these characters are, they're fun to follow, but they're not like necessarily likable people. The teachers become an alcoholic, and she also convinces a man to cheat on his fiance or whatever. Josh Brolin, he's like kind of aggressive with his detective style.
He's a misogynist because he goes over the wife.
That was crazy.
By the way,
Wait, what scene?
the ultimate cameo in the film. Shout out to Justin Long.
Oh yeah.
Zach Cregger is now 2 for 2 in random Justin Long showing up in your film.
Yeah, I think they're better.
Step into it.
That's the
Yeah, so yeah, Dylan's referencing this scene where Josh Brolin's doing his citizen detective work, and he goes to the house of one of the other parents whose child disappeared, and he asks the wife, "Can I see your Ring camera footage?" And she says no, so he just waits for the
Wait
dad
for the husband to get home.
and then he asks him instead,
And the wife
He's
is
the man of the house.
she's in every shot after that,
Yeah.
just staring at
scowling at them.
That was another one of the kind of early funny moments our audience really liked, because as they're showing the ring camera footage, you just realize the wife is in the back looking PO
Yeah,
about the whole situation.
Oh, it's so good. I really
I like the characters though. Like they all have like flaws, but
I guess, yeah, unlikable isn't the right word. It's
Yeah.
just like these aren't perfect protagonists. They're not even like your standard hero's journey.
yeah, they're definitely
protagonists.
bad people.
Yeah.
But they have like goodness to them.
Well, I mean, the only like bad one would be the abusive cop, right?
Thanos is like screaming at an innocent woman for no reason at a PTA meeting.
Yeah, but okay,
like that guy's mentally deranged.
No.
Come on.
his child went missing and he thinks she's responsible. That doesn't excuse it, but I don't think that the point is they're all terrible people. I do think that if there is a mess, because I was trying to find like if there's an overarching message to the movie. Originally, I was on, the gun thing with that one dream sequence that we kind of alluded to earlier. But I think in general, what I was noticing is just, it's this, like that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So you have kind of a failure on each level. Like you have the police who are terrible at their job. The other character, James, who obviously is on drugs and going around robbing everyone. The teacher's an alcoholic.
the two gay guys are pretty innocent.
Yeah, they're pretty innocent, but they're not POV characters.
They make up half of the Benedict Wong gets a POV, doesn't he?
He does.
does,
Marcus
yes.
gets a segment.
Yeah.
Oh, does
He's
he?
going shopping and picking up fruity pebbles. And...
Oh, I forgot he was
Thank-
a POV character.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna die.
That's like
Yeah,
half
so your
the
theme is ruined.
that's like half the deaths in the movie is just that gay couple.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah,
look.
I know.
Unfortunate.
Damn, you're right.
Yeah, and I think when we mention these characters being unlikable or having flaws, I think also one of the themes of the film is that grief affects people differently and it brings out the worst in some people. The cop character, he wasn't necessarily grieving. He was just not a good person. And then I guess the junkie, I'm sure he had his struggles as well. But at least for like our two main characters, Justine and Archer, like everything quote unquote bad about them comes from this tragedy that they've experienced. And it's only by coming together and teaming up that they're able to overcome that.
Well, the interesting thing about that is I wasn't sure if Justine was, I mean, obviously she was drinking more, but just her conversation with Alden Ehrenreich's character may have seemed like, I don't know if that was a problem previously.
No, she was saying, or he was saying, like, "Oh, this isn't going to solve it. Like, this has been a problem in the past."
Yeah.
And Thanos mentions to Benedict Wong that he's like, she has a history, or to the police chief. She has like a history with alcoholism. She has a DUI.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he's
that's
going
right.
through all her
Yeah,
shit.
so that one I don't think, obviously the grief exacerbated that, but I did think when I was watching it that was something that had came previously, and the DUI point is correct. So it
Yeah, that's true. Cool. So one of the fun facts about this movie is there was a huge bidding war once the screenplay was floating around Hollywood, and one of the people who bid for it was Jordan Peele, and he was unsuccessful. He was trying to get his company to produce it, I think, and teaming up with maybe Universal, but it was like his production company and then a bigger one teamed up to bid, and they lost, and then he fired his agents the next day. So what do you guys think about that?
This movie's gonna make decent money, so
Yeah.
I think it's warranted. I don't know if you need to fire agents because your production company didn't get this. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Is Jordan Peele a raging asshole?
He produces a lot of stuff. He really the success of Get Out. He was like, I'm doing everything. I don't care.
Yeah, I think he would have liked to have this one like under his banner.
Yeah, one of the tweets I saw one of the tweets I saw before I came was like, Jordan Peele's probably really angry his name's not attached to that, and that's all I could think when the trailer for Him played before the movie. Like, I don't know how Him will turn out, but I was like,
Him.
I just, there's so much hype for this movie. As I saw that trailer, I was like, oh, I'm sure Jordan Peele's probably kicking himself a bit. Well, it wasn't his fault, but I'm sure he's upset.
I try to imagine how the film would be different if Jordan Peele directed it, and I went straight to the shot of the woman running through the yard being chased by children. Like, on the page, that's probably not like a funny scene.
Mm-hmm.
On the page, it's probably like she gets chased down by the children and they rip her apart. But Zach Cregger brought to it like this comedic thing, and it was the most uproariously. Yeah.
like 4 or 5 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wonder if that was in the script when it like first came to him, or if he did some edits.
Yeah,
And like Jordan Peele probably would not have made that a funny scene. Maybe a little, I don't know, but
yeah, probably a little. I would say that even though they both come from that sketch comedy background, Zach Cregger's movies are more explicitly comedic than Jordan Peele's.
Jordan Peele stuff is also more explicit social commentary. I feel like
yeah.
Zach Cregger's 2 films. I'm sure there's going to be like video essays on YouTube of people breaking down this movie and how each of the characters are meant to be like the 7 deadly sins or something like that. And I don't know if he's like doing his films for them to be interpreted that deeply.
I disagree with Barbarian. I think had a lot of social commentary.
Barbarian, it's more obvious.
Pretty
It is a
straightforward.
web-
This one I was grasping for like kind of like a message, like some kind of theme that he's kind of like because a lot of the best horror movies, they are about something than something else than what they're actually
Yeah,
about.
you use the horror genre as a means to facilitate a movie about social commentary.
Yeah, and I didn't get really anything specific. Like you were mentioning, it takes a village to raise a child. That feels like a stretch to me. I was thinking towards the end, like she has the youth in her house as a weapon. She has parents in the house as a weapon. She has a cop in the house as a weapon. I was thinking some kind of like political thing where she's captured the minds of the police and the children, but it didn't really come together. I don't know.
It's a film about boomers not wanting to get rid of their generational wealth to the younger generations.
There could be some of that. It is about a old lady as the parasite that is stealing the youth from various generations beneath her. So that is an interesting interpretation. Cool. Do you guys have any final thoughts on weapons before we wrap up?
Just a random one that we haven't brought up in the discussion. My favorite thing kind of that implied how old the witch was there was a scene where she says she's explaining to, I think she's talking to the principal because she shows up for a meeting with him, Benedict Wong's character, and she's explaining what's wrong with Alex's actual parents because why is the aunt showing up, and she says they have consumption, which is a really old-timey, not used at all term anymore. So I was like, okay, so she's been around like probably 200 300 years. Also, when she was going through, again, I think Benedict Wong's house, and she was like commenting on everything, there was one thing she pointed out and she was like, that's original. And then I think she kind of like tried to hide it and was like, that's original, I think. But I'm pretty sure like she knew that was an original because she's been around for. So I think she has been surviving for hundreds of years by doing what she's doing. I wish you would explain more why it seemingly wasn't working here.
Also, how is she getting into this family? Like, is she actually their aunt? Did she kill their aunt and is taking her place?
It's very glossed over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
I bet in like either the original screenplay or just Zach Cregger's notes, there is a very carved out world where, the mechanics are fully explained. I guess if he wants to do a sequel, I'm sure he has notes that will go further into the magic of
Would
this
you be
movie.
interested in a sequel to this movie?
I mean, I'd see it.
I think this is fine as a standalone story. I think
so too.
you not knowing the mechanics of The Witch is pretty important to the overall enjoyment of the film. I think if you just go into another movie, this isn't a slasher film. This isn't like you can introduce another movie where another character has identical powers and they're just killing off a batch of new characters. I don't think that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't want like a direct sequel like that. But I guess if he wants to do a sequel that's kind of in this universe but explores something new, I'd definitely go see it. But
M. Night Shyamalan, if you're listening to this podcast, go make the sequel. You could do it.
I think there is like a scene or like in one of the ads, there was a newspaper clipping that alluded to the events of Barbarian. So this is all one big cinematic universe already for this guy's 2 movies. And I would happily watch more of that, even if it includes Resident Evil.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good director, clearly. So you always want to watch movies from good directors.
Mm-hmm.
You just worry about, these younger directors that they make a successful movie or two, and then they get swamped in the studio system, and you don't see another like cool original film from them like for like years and years.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to do well enough that Zach Cregger should take the lesson that like I can make original good movies and not count out of the studio systems and like make big budget whatever Hollywood like Marvel movies or whatever, and like he'll stick to what he's doing now because he clearly is making money doing it and people like it. So hopefully.
I'm excited to see a big hyped up horror film in the future that is not mind control, because the plot of Longlegs is mind control from the devil, and this one is mind control from a voodoo witch lady. Give us something original.
There's only so many ways that people can control other people, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Satan and witches.
It'd be cool if it was a literal parasite. If it was like a little worm or something she was putting in people. That'd be freaky. That'd be like Slither, the James Gunn film.
She turns into an illithid, and then the whole thing turns into a D&D movie.
God damn it. Dylan doesn't get those references.
I'm not a nerd.
Jason liked it.
Cool. Any other final thoughts on Weapons before we wrap up?
Go see it in theaters. Definitely go check it out. It's a fun film to watch in a packed theater.
It's so fun in theaters. Like the audience is yelling things to the characters. People are gasping at the same time, which is always cool. And then it's a big laugh too. Very funny movie. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Over Under podcast. Thank you for listening and or watching. If you like this, you can support us on Patreon. We now have like 5 patrons, which is really cool and exciting. You can join our Discord to have more conversations like this one, talk about movies with us. And you can check us out on our socials, TikTok, Facebook.
We're on Twitter.
Twitter.
Active on Twitter.
X, that it's called now.
I'm not calling it X.
Instagram, all of those places you can check us out. And of course, you can always watch us on YouTube or listen to us wherever you get your pods. So thank you again. We'll see you at the movies. Bye.
Later. That's it. We're done.
We'll cut. Good job, guys.
That was fun.